Good afternoon, Anzie and Joanna. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's like they're twinning. You're adorable. I am in such awe, let alone of your product. As you know, I'm a massive fan, but I love your backstory. It is a story of passion, it is a story of love, it is a story of family and support. Anzie, for those of you that are watching out there that don't know who you are, can you just tell us a little bit about your company and how we got there?
Sure. So my name is Anzie. The name of the company is Anzie, and I'm the founder, and it started in 1999.
Wow, I love that. And, when I talked to Joanna, she gave us such incredible sort of backstory that I think you've shared with a lot of people and you share with the public, but
Yes.
you brought such awareness to a really, really important disease and illness. So, do you mind to share your story of sort of how you came into your passion project when the kids were super young?
Yeah, sure. Um, Joanna was 8 years old at the time. Robert, my son, was 10, and Jacqueline, my oldest, was 14. And at that point, my husband was diagnosed with colon cancer, stage 4 colon cancer, and he really wasn't given much hope. And we discussed together, my husband and I, that I had to think of something to do for my future and my children's future because we didn't think he could possibly be here for, we didn't know how long.
I
And so
that's
we came out with one bracelet to raise awareness for colon cancer.
And now you had said when we were speaking earlier that you were always sort of creative. You did go to school to be a teacher, I believe, but I think your late brother was also somebody that was very creative with his hands. So, how does he come into the picture? You kind of helped him out, or how did that happen?
He was a real entrepreneur. He owned a picture framing company, but not just a picture framing company. He bought artwork from all over the world,
Wow.
and he started in the basement of my parents' house at 18 years old. He graduated from high school and he didn't go on to university. He was a very hands on person, always creating from when he was a little boy. He made his own dune buggy.
Oh,
Growing
dune buggy. I know,
I,
you know what? As soon as you say these words, I'm always like that. You kind of ages us, but I don't really care. But it's sort of those words as well. It's funny. You probably can't see my T-shirt. It's the
okay,
Barbie Corvette,
okay.
and and I'm like, geez, I wish I hung on to that because now knowing how much all that stuff is worth would have been great. But anyway, nevertheless, so he was, and it's funny you say that going to your brother being an entrepreneur and, going right into it after high school. I find that many entrepreneurs, because they're so creative, don't necessarily have this big education afterwards. Not, discounting, education past high school, but
Right.
it's kind of funny that you say that he went right into it. Now, what did you do at that point? So you helped him out with
When
his
he was
business?
18, I was 11. So, no, I just watched him always working. He worked probably 20 hours a day. I started doing part time work for him when I was 14. And I remember very clearly when he gave me a job to do, I'd sit down and he came over to me and said to me, "What are you doing? What do you?" I said, "But you gave me a job. I'm finished." He said, "You never sit down. You always have to be doing something. You got to go on to the, if I didn't tell you something, you come ask me or you find something to do." So that was always in the back of my mind. Even today, like if you're sitting and watching TV, it's very hard for me to just sit and watch TV. I have to work with my hands, I have to create. It's just who I am. And
And I love that. And that's probably a big part of your success, right? I feel that, even for myself, it's very rare that we can sort of decompress and just do nothing. I mean, there's a time for it, but like you said, if, whatever you're doing, you still have that passion to be doing and to be creating. I think once you're a creator, that's just within your blood. I have a son that's actually an art creator online. When COVID hit, I mentioned to you, I have the four boys. When COVID hit, he was going to be the one that was going to be either a lawyer, an engineer, whatever. He had wonderful grades, could have gotten into any school. And,
Mm-hmm.
he has a very huge artistic background in him. And, he just created something for himself. And so, okay, so anyways, nevertheless, so once you had that creativity, you were working with your brother, then sort of to fast forward, so your husband unfortunately was diagnosed and the
Mm-hmm.
kids were young, so you decided, I'm going to open up a company, or you had just made one bracelet from what I understand.
Not at all. Never really thought, okay, yes, I listened to my husband to a certain point, but okay, I've got to do something with my life. Well, I didn't know at that point. I knew I had to focus on helping him, going for treatment and many operations to New York, to California. It was almost like a full time job.
Sure,
Um,
it was, especially in 1999. Not a lot of people even knew the word colon
we
cancer.
didn't know. We'd
It
never heard of it
wasn't
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't something that was really brought up. There was no, I don't believe there was even tests at that point, where now, men go and check their prostate. And, it's one of the quote unquote, what I heard, actually, my GP of, oh my goodness, 33 years, is a five-time colon cancer survivor and has just retired. And, I don't think back in the day there was that awareness as there is today. But you,
Oh,
Anzie,
you're
took it
freezing.
one step up and you
Hold
created this
on.
beautiful bracelet. So, can you tell me the backstory about your first bracelet?
So the bracelet came about when we had to go to New York for one of his operations. The colon cancer had spread to his liver, and he had to have an operation there. And as part of his recuperation, we walked the streets of New York, and we kept noticing gemstones in different stores and never saw them in Montreal. So we sourced out gemstones, brought them back to Montreal, set up a table in our basement, and my kids, all the kids, started creating things. And one of the things that Barry created was the colon cancer bracelet. It was different colors, and we called it the Lifesaver bracelet. It looked very
Oh,
much like a pack of lifesavers, all different colors.
I
And
love
then,
that.
yeah,
I just want to say one thing.
yes,
So as a kid, when they would come home from these long trips, it was always very exciting, obviously, that they were coming home, but like what we looked forward to was the little packages that they would bring home. So we would open them up
Yes. Well, I can almost, yeah,
and
you and I
we
chatted
started
about
creating that
that.
way.
Yeah,
yes.
and you
So
and I
that's how
chatted about
the
that. I'm sure it
company
was
started,
almost
with
like,
that one bracelet. We took that bracelet to New York and made an appointment with Saks Fifth Avenue. From that bracelet, we got in to have an appointment, and that's how the business started, right
wow,
out of that one bracelet. Yes.
So I
that
think
is so,
there wasn't necessarily time for an appointment, but they said Jacqueline and Anzie were together. They went over to the office and they said, well, we just want to give you this bracelet. And if you can, give it to the buyer, we would love to have an appointment to show you the collection. And that was the introduction into getting into Saks and into creating brand awareness and getting Anzie as a brand out there across the US and across Canada.
which is, just that story alone, even if you ended it there, people don't even get in to be able to drop off
I
something
know.
like this. So I feel like not only did you have the talent, and like I said, clearly your work is absolutely beautiful, but obviously there was maybe a higher power, or everything you were going through. I feel like that was your time. You didn't
Right.
even know it was going to be like that, right?
No, for
And
sure.
what year was that? So he was diagnosed in 99. That was what, a year or two later?
It's probably like 2002, 2003.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yes.
And then
I love that.
my sister said, okay, I'm gonna go to New York, and I'm gonna go there and study for a year, and go to jewelry school. I'll learn more, and then I'll come back to Montreal. And it's
Yeah, and she went there. I think she was
how many years
22,
later?
and she's turning 42. So she never came
20
back.
years ago. Crazy. So that was
Oh, wow, that is awesome. But
yeah.
just to go back to your story, Joanna, too, it's funny that, and again, having young kid or having had young kids, it was like you said, it was always about, you probably thought, oh my gosh, it was like better than Christmas or a loot bag, right?
Yeah.
Because not only could you see this big shiny something or small shiny something, it also got your creativity flowing probably as well. And it brought the family together, right? To do something together. And that's why I love this whole story so much. It is so much about family. So as we sort of fast forward, so what did they do? They decided to take on that bracelet. You got the appointment and then you were off to the races.
I just want to add one quick thing. It
Yes,
didn't bring
please.
the family together. It also brought the whole community together. So like, if you want to just add a little bit more about like how the community started coming together.
Yes.
So friends and family started shopping out of our basement. That's where it started. Students started making jewelry like with us. Like our friends were making bracelets and jewelry out of our home. But it was
started making other pieces.
It was a fun thing that got everybody excited and got many people's creative juices flowing, not just our families, which was nice. It was including the community.
I love that. Well, you inspired so many other people to come into, let's say, your family, and really, let's call a spade a spade. Your community is sort of like your second family, right? So I love that grassroots approach, and you're both extremely humble, which I love. So thank you for that. But the other thing is, I love the fact that your whole mission and your whole vision was always about awareness and giving back.
And continues to be a big part of the business as well.
Yes, I was just going to say, so let's just share, because as you were telling me the story before, Joanna, all I wanted to say is, how's your dad? And you were like, oh, don't worry, he's alive. And, so is he healthy?
Yes.
Yes, he's been cancer-free for a very, very long time. As I don't like to figure out the years because I feel it's like jinxing.
No, we don't. Yeah, you don't have to do that.
It's been, and when he was diagnosed, he was so positive, like you have no idea. I have this most amazing family. I'm gonna be here. And the first thing he said was, I want to be here for Robert's bar mitzvah. Okay.
Oh.
It was only 10. And he says, I got to get there. Mm-hmm. And he's amazing. He's a very positive person.
So because a lot of your jewelry and a lot of your designs really do resonate positivity. And I don't know if that's how it all came from his and your whole family and the community's positivity, where some of the inspiration came from. Can you share a little bit about that? I mean, I know you're continuing to be innovative, and I do see new designs and new collections come out, but I feel like sort of the foundation of Anzie really is that close-knit family, community, tranquility, peace. So can you share a little bit about that?
Well, when we make jewelry, we want it to be able to be worn every day. We want it to be practical, but at the same time, we want it to show up. So there's a lot of different things that we got into along the way. So one of the things that lately has been a lot of ear piercings, but everything's very delicate and you can wear it every day. I've always been a very practical person in that I want to be comfortable. My shoes have to be comfortable, my jewelry has to be comfortable, and then at the same time, sometimes I like it to look bolder, so we do a lot of layering of our necklaces, and I love pendants. I love all the different pendants that we're creating. I love the bigger bangles that we're making, and I also love colors, so that's where the beads come into us wearing the bracelets and showing them. I love turquoise and gold.
So speaking of medallion, so something like this.
Oh, that's
so this has This has a celestial inspiration. It has a Mayan inspiration. You'll see a lot of nature inspiration throughout our pieces. You'll see a lot of celestial inspiration.
This one says my name. And what's nice about it is you can only tell it's my name if you really look closely, because the design.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Joanna, you'll have to send me a picture of that so I can put it into this video, because your designs are so unique. And I know there's a lot of people and a lot of, very talented designers, but yours is so unique. Like the colors, the beads, the feel, the gemstones, everything is so unique. Like I don't see it anywhere, which is one of the many reasons that I love the brand so much. But, going back, no, you're welcome, but it's really the truth. And I know everybody else in your community, and you have a very loyal following and a very loyal community, is the one thing that sort of, just to go back to for a second, don't you feel as an entrepreneur, you sort of create what you feel?
Yes.
Yeah, she's kind of like, duh. But I'm just saying, a lot of people don't. A lot of people will try to go mainstream, and they'll try, like you even just brought something really, that people don't, if they don't know how to layer, they put a whole bunch of stuff on and it looks ridiculous, right? And I know the new kind of hot thing is layering. And so you'll conform to new like looks and styles, but you'll never veer from your authenticity and sort of where you started from, which is what I was sort of trying to say, because so many people jump on these different bandwagons, and I don't feel like your brand does. I feel like it just remains true to itself. So what I was sort of trying to get to is, as an entrepreneur, there's many people that will be watching this video and this interview are dying to know, as an entrepreneur, what is sort of your superpower, if you will. So I can sort of share with you what mine is. Mine is just being very truthful, very authentic, true to myself and true to the people that I love and I surround myself with. And I don't know if yours is similar, but as an entrepreneur, what do you feel is your superpower?
How do I get through each day, and what makes me come to work and all that stuff? I feel very passionate about what I do. And sometimes it's not easy because business is tough. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm going to quit,
Yep,
because
every entrepreneur goes through that. Every entrepreneur goes through that, sometimes many times.
to
And
pay for
so what do
bills.
you say to yourself?
I say it's going to get better. We're going
And
to get through this. We're going to get through this. We're going to get to the next part, and we're going to go out and we're going to hustle. We're going to meet customers. We're going to speak to. It's very important to speak with your customer.
yes,
A lot of times they give you ideas and say, "Oh, I'd love to have this," and sometimes it's one of the best ideas, and you
I
just
think so too.
you have to listen, not just talk, but always listen. And I don't know.
Some of the best leaders do better listening than they do talking, because what you just said is so incredibly powerful, which is, your customers will tell you what they want. Again, you're not going to do everything for everybody, but they'll give you ideas, maybe something you didn't think of. And I love the fact that you're just being so vulnerable and so truthful, that entrepreneurship, it's tough business. It is tough. Forget about the world pandemic. That's a whole nother, I don't even go there anymore. But we had to get through all of that. But there are struggles and obstacles along an entrepreneur's path all the time, right? And so you just take it, from what I'm hearing, if I'm correct, you're saying, I take it day by day, right? And then you're also saying, and I felt so upset I missed the both of you in Toronto, but I love the fact it's almost like, and again, I'm dating myself, which is totally cool with me. I remember back in the day that's how people would sell. Even in grocery stores, they would go and they would let you try their product. And to be able to meet the designer and the daughter and the brains behind the corporation, that is massive. And I know you two are out there meeting your clients. How does that feel for you? Like, what is sort of
I,
the mindset?
Joanna,
too.
my sister Jacqueline.
Also,
So my sister just happens to be based out of New Jersey. So that's where she lives. And so like we're not always together, but we do make a point to do some shows together a few times a year so that we can, at least spend that time together, like trade shows. Definitely in Las Vegas, we always have our time together then. But basically going out and meeting customers, I think that is part of our superpower. I would say like the whole conversations to be had, the whole interaction, the time that we get to spend together in those moments, it makes us love what we do because we're together. We're doing it together. It makes it fun.
For sure. And a lot of times if I'm wearing too much jewelry, well, my kids will say, Mom, I know you love the jewelry and you love wearing it, but like, okay, too much.
And vice versa. Vice versa.
It's always, it's nice to have somebody younger, their opinion, and it's nice for them to hear somebody older have an opinion. Well, an older woman would want to wear it this way, so we bounce off ideas from each other.
I also want to say that we don't do this all ourselves. We have an incredible team.
Yes,
we have 10 people in our company that are working their butts off every day to run this business.
They're very devoted.
And everybody has a hand in making the business successful. So like one thing that we worked on for the last few years, and I think over the last year, something that was like a big discussion for our entire company, and Newman just wants to come in. Do you guys want to meet Newman? I'm just going to bring him in.
Oh, absolutely.
He's crying. Come here, Newman. Okay.
Absolutely. I don't know who Newman is, but I bet you it's a furry. Oh, come on. Okay, Anzie, and like, I'm sorry if you already have this, but I'm a massive loyal fan. Yes. I wonder, because I have a Frenchie, the only girl in my family, right? All boys, all men. What if you did something for puppies?
I would love to.
We do have something for puppies.
I know.
That's why I said, if you do, maybe I missed it, but do you have like something for dogs? What is it? A collar?
For actual dogs. For actual dogs. No. We have symbols that represent dogs, but we don't actually have for dogs.
Okay, well, just saying, it's a whole untapped market and another market. You heard it first here. Because, I don't know how you look at the baby. So cute. Hi. Just wanted to see mommy, right?
We definitely do things that represent dogs. But yes, our company is called Anzie Accessories and Designs, Inc. officially, so that if ever we decided to go into something apart from jewelry, it would work with our brand name. We do eventually plan on adding accessories into our line.
I've been saying recently, I'd like to do something that will help dogs, like
to give back.
To give back.
I feel like that this is your whole calling. I don't know, but you said you're one to listen. Sometimes when you keep hearing the same message, it's sort of the universe's way of saying, over here, right? Ideas over here. Because, people go crazy for what they do for their animals. All animals, but I love all animals, but I'm a huge dog lover. I would totally buy a piece from Anzie for my puppy. And anything from, like nice beads or something, even if you had a collar with a beautiful gemstone, I'm in. I'm just saying, I'm going to be your first customer.
Okay.
First of thousands, I'm sure of it. And so I just, I know our time is coming up. I have two more very quick questions. So our tagline is the struggle's part of the story. This, any road to entrepreneurship, it's never a paved highway, right? So can you think back to maybe one really big obstacle or struggle that you had to face? And if you can share a little bit about it, and what did you do to sort of overcome that?
Well, one struggle I remember coming back from the States, I was with Jacqueline and she was still in university. And we did some kind of show in the States. And we drove back with the jewelry. And we got to the border and I said, oh, we're really making good time here because, we were in the car driving with the jewelry. And we got to the border and it was probably like 8 o'clock, something like that, 9 o'clock. And they said, oh, we just need one thing. Well, that one thing we didn't have was some kind of documents. So by 2 a.m., 3 a.m. turned around and she had to go to school the next day. And I swear we were both crying there in the customs off. And then they said, sorry, we can't let you through. We had to go back to the States, drive back.
Oh,
it was really devastating. And we had to figure out a way to come back because really we learned so much by doing different things and starting things off. You can't drive with jewelry. You have to ship it. So that was pretty
how
big.
interesting. Like, see, somebody that's not in the business, I would never know that. But aren't you sort of saying you had to learn a lot through making mistakes?
A lot. Yes.
A lot. And, everybody, especially on social media and whatnot. And again, the whole premise of the podcast, as well as the publication, is to talk about these struggles. Because you look on certain social media channels and you're swiping and, you see like these people's lives look picture perfect, bologna and cheese, right? There's no way. There are the struggles. And I feel like that's when real growth happens. That's when, you can be vulnerable. And I mean, you can say, hey, you know what? I've messed up too. And I, was in tears with my daughter doing this and we had to go back. Right. And that's okay. Guess what? I bet you never did that twice.
Right. And I remember Jacqueline saying when she went to school, she said, by the time she got to school the next day or the following day, it was the best day of her life. She never wanted to be in school so much. She didn't think she would get back there. We didn't know what was going to happen. Another thing that in the past that I always used to say to myself when I was weaker, when I felt weak, I would always ask myself the question, what if I can't do this? What if this doesn't work? It was always that what if. And then one day I just said, to hell with the one if. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, forget about one if, because you don't want to be a failure to other people and look like an idiot. And you know what? If it doesn't work, it won't work. You have to do it for yourself. It's forget what if, okay? And
so I think that brings upon another most recent struggle, the decision to move our company's head office. So that was something that we had been talking about for the last 5 years. COVID happened. Everybody was working from home except for a few people. And, we put it on hold. We looked at spaces over the last few years. Making the decision to move was probably one of the biggest struggles and like company-wide decisions that we had to make. It was a huge growing point for us. But at the same time, it was a huge investment for us to take. So we had to do
scary.
We had to do a lot to make this happen. And we were in the same location. So we had moved the business from our basement. This was 18 years ago. We moved the base of the business from our basement into a head office that was located on the second floor in this building.
But that was scary too, I'm sure, right?
Yes, it was.
And I remember I was 18 years old and I was helping everybody move into the office. It was on the second floor. We had to get a safe in, and that was a whole other story. This was moving out of the space after being there for 17 years. If you could imagine, like in a home, all the stuff that you gather up over all this time, we had to get rid of a lot first, and then we had to find the right location. Are we going to move to a second store somewhere? Are we going to move downtown Montreal? Are we going to stay in, the industrial area of Montreal near the orange julep of Montreal, if you're familiar with that in Montreal? So what we did was we found an amazing location. We were like, okay, this is the one. We're going to go here. It's second floor. It's similar to what we have. It's perfect. And then, you know what? We had a discussion together. We decided, nope, that's not the space. And then, turns out we ended up finding another location. This is where we are now. And it was kind of like a dream spot. You can have a storefront in front. You can have your head office in the back. You're next to luxury boutiques. You're still in an industrial area where you have 14-foot ceilings, but you need to build out the space. So it's going to take a designer. It's going to take a lot of work. You have to be ready for this. We didn't sleep, I think, for at least 6 months.
I was going to say at least, or you didn't even exhale for 6 months.
Yeah.
But isn't that so exciting? Like now when you look back, you know, it's like, why was I so scared? Sort of, Anzie, what you said, it's like, it's the what ifs that I think really, really stifle a lot of people. And, you know, it's very commonly known that, you know, thinking backwards causes depression, thinking forward causes anxiety. But as an entrepreneur, you kind of need to think forward a little bit when you're taking on such a big change. But you guys just sort of held each other's hands and said, we're doing this and we're going to do it together. You have a great team. And so I think it's all about confidence. And so the book that I have coming out in 2024 is called Rockstar Confidence. And it's not about being arrogant. It's about, to me, confidence is believing in yourself. So you all obviously had the confidence that regardless of whatever happened, if it was going to uberly be successful, if it was going to be tough for a bit, if it was going to fail, you believed that you were all going to be okay. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
And I think the scariest things sometimes turn out to be the most successful.
Yeah. Yes.
They sure do. And the biggest growth, I think, too, happens in those times. So I would love to talk to you for the next 48 hours. I hope we do another podcast together. I'm definitely going to come see you in Montreal. We're going to talk about lots of fun things. But I have a closing question, I guess, for both of you. I'm going to let Anzie go first. Anzie, what does it mean to you when you hear the word unbreakable?
Determined. I love scary movies. Not too many of my friends do. And maybe that's part of like being in the business.
Is living that nightmare of being an entrepreneur. Yes.
It's fun. It's fun and exciting. And when you get things to work out, you know, doing it like with our family. My son developed a website when we first started. Jacqueline is our creative designer. Joanna is my right-hand person. She does everything. It's amazing. It's a great feeling. It's just about determination, really. It's a lot.
So unbreakable to you is about being determined regardless of obstacles, is sort of what I hear from you. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Joanna, I'm going to put you on the spot. What does it mean to be
frozen?
Yep, it was frozen for a bit. It's okay. We'll figure it out.
Oh, no, Joanna.
I think just like following your passion and, you know, doing what you love, continuing to do what you love when you believe in something. Just keep going for it. Don't give up. I guess unbreakable is not giving up.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, you said something when you moved into the new space, you kind of just did it. You know, a lot of people, I'm sure, will ask you the same question they ask me and many other entrepreneurs is, well, how did you do it? And my answer to them is like, I just did. Like you moved forward, whether it was, you know, kind of at snail's pace sometimes when you were, you know, thinking and not certain, but you were still moving forward. And it sounds like, you know, your whole family has moved forward in such a positive way. And again, hats off to you. I love both of you. I love the brand. Thank you both so much for joining me. Big hearts, big hugs, and I will come and see you both in Montreal.
Please do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So nice chatting with you.